And welcome back to Survivor Girl Sunday, Survivor Girl podcast. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. So glad to be here hanging out with all of you tonight. Got a really different kind of a show tonight, but first I'm going to go ahead and get into the disclaimer. Survivor Girl podcast is a production of Strange Friends Media Group. Myself and guests on Survivor Girl podcast are not doctors, therapists, counselors, or trained medical professionals. We are not here to treat, diagnose, or prescribe by any means of treatment. Survivor Girl Podcast is here to share our journeys and what we've overcome in hopes of inspiring, uplifting, and empowering others. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that before we get started. Candy Ray's already chiming in saying hello, sis. Hey, Candy, how's it going? So I just wanted to say hello. I hope everybody out there is doing the best that they can with the time that we're in. I decided to do a little bit of research tonight, and I'm going to talk about that with helping with some people that might be dealing with depression or some other things that are happening right now. One of the things I wanted to do though is first give a shout out to Virus Spirit 2020. It's a Facebook page that has just came about. Oh, my guest for tonight is just showing up. Just came about on Facebook, and you can actually go on to that page and join it. It's a lot of positive stuff going on for kids of all ages, adults, everybody. If you go ahead and like that page, you can follow all the positivity that's happening there, and all the different things that they are doing over there to keep things positive and keep kids busy with different projects and even story time for kids. Today I actually went on there and did some singing, and tomorrow night between 7 and 8 I will be on there reading a bedtime story to kids that are at home right now, and kind of to help with boost their morale also. And I also like to give a shout out to 6 Degrees Truth Serum. You can go onto that page, join it there on Facebook. Also, a very positive page. You can talk about the things that you're dealing with right now, your real trials and tribulations that are happening in life and everything. And also, Serenity Co-op, go ahead and give them some love. They're still working through getting their organization up and running, and it is a very cool organization. You can read about that over on Facebook. Go ahead and check that out. And like I said, I'm doing a little bit of a different show tonight. This right here is my guest, which is funny, but what more perfect at home with quarantine right now. This is Jibby. Jibby is 16 and a half, going to be 17 come October this year. So he is one of the oldest cats that I've actually ever had. And Jibby was actually a survivor himself, which I'll get into that little bit of a story. When I was married, my mother-in-law at the time had found this little guy and his brother. They were about a couple weeks old or so in a barn that was at a church there, and they were abandoned. I think that the mom actually had gotten hit, and the brother and him were left there and to fend for themselves at only a couple weeks old by a busy, busy road. And they had found them when they were over at the church and took them and snuck them into their house while they were trying not to have as many pets because she was constantly finding animals and bringing them home, and it just kind of got to be too many. So she had asked us to hold on to and to help foster the two brothers at the time, and I ended up falling in love with both of them and said that I did not want to give them back, and we ended up keeping them. So throughout everything, unfortunately, we did lose Lucky, but Lucky in the beginning, which is the brother of Jibby here, had a leg that did not form. The muscle didn't form in his leg, so it actually kind of would drag when he would walk, and they were talking about having to amputate it. However, I was able to work with him, get him exercise, and do different stuff with helping him heal. And by the time that it was all said and done, he was able to actually jump up to my chest, my shoulder, or whatever from the floor, and he was able to use his leg no problem. He lived to be about 10, 11 years old, I think, and Jimmy here I've had ever since. He's gone through so many things with me: tears, a divorce, losing mom, losing Zach, going through cancer, all kinds of different stuff. He has been an amazing, amazing animal. He has just this natural ability, as animals do, to know whenever I am having a rough day, I'm having a hard time, my anxiety or depression is flaring up. He is there for me, and without me even knowing that I'm going to have an anxiety attack coming on, he actually will come up to me and start crying until I pick him up, and then it's kind of apparent that he is kind of already trying to help me get through that. So, not everybody is a cat person. I love all animals actually, but I found him, and he is a natural ESA, which is an emotional support animal. Some people feel like that is not a thing. Other people that have one understand. There is a place called Pause for Cause that actually trains animals to be not just ESAs, but for diabetics, for children and adults with autism and disabilities. And also, there's animals that are able to detect seizures and things like that as well that are trained. He was not trained. He is actually certified. Um, with having an ESA, it makes it a little bit difficult because sometimes, like I rent and I've rented for a long time. Some have been good about him being an ESA. Some wanted me to present the letter that he actually has to make him what he is. I know there's a stigma out there about people that just have these letters to supposedly be able to take their animals with travel or whatever it is, or to have them be able to move in with them, whatnot. But he is actually legitly certified, and it's refreshing to have that because moving and renting, not every time you move somewhere are you able or allowed to have pets. So that makes it legal to where you're able to keep your ESA, and he's just been a really awesome gift. He's been just a really good thing in my life to help me get through so many different things. And I've talked about going through therapy and all the different things. My therapist actually is the one that helped me to get him certified and to get a legal letter made up for me to have him. I got another thing in chat over here on YouTube. Adam says, "Hey, checking in, nice and clear. Got to turn up the volume to hear you though." Yeah, we are still doing the remote shows. Tony is at the studio. He is watching Twitch right now for any comments. I am on YouTube for any comments that we have in the chat. We thank you guys for tuning in. So with us doing the quarantine and staying away and staying home, staying safe, I am at home, so we're remotely doing our episodes that way. And we are thankful to still be able to keep on going and keep on moving. So, yeah, the big thing that I want to talk about tonight, though, was being able to have an ESA, what that kind of means. If you have ever experienced it, anybody that's in chat, if you ever have experienced a emotional support animal, whether they were trained or whether they are not, if you have one yourself, if you had to deal with people kind of if they've made some snide comments or remarks about having an emotional support animal or what that means. I know I've got some people that I know who have several animals that are actually emotional support. Animals just can tell when something's wrong. Me and Candy, I know Candy was chiming in right now. Her and I actually were having a conversation about how when my anxiety was getting a little bit rough from the fear of everything that's going on lately, how they can pick up on it, and that's very true, especially with him. Um, so that can cause their emotions and their health. It can cause issues with that as well. Sorry. So it's been interesting and eye opening, especially with everything going on right now. This is just he's been a really good animal, like I say, it best gift I ever had because he came with me as a divorce, and I've had him ever since, oh man, well, almost 17 years. In October, I got him just as a kitten, and I've had several animals throughout my life. My mom and I had many animals. I had a cat from the time I was in kindergarten until I was 18. He ended up, or 19, sorry. He ended up passing away, and that was my first cat that I had for a long time. So, we've always had animals, and now we have not just him, but we have two other cats that live here, and we have two goats that are actually boarded at a farm right now until we are able to get ours. So, we are very much animal lovers around here, and there's a difference between how Bitsy and Groot act. Those are my other cats compared to how this guy acts. So yeah, this is my bud, my cat that has had many tears and has been through a lot with me, and I'm thankful for that. And like I said, if you guys had any questions or anything, or have an animal that relies or that you rely on or that helps, there's just so many different things out there. Especially like I've heard of the animals that can detect seizures and things. I find that fascinating. That there are animals that work like that. And another thing growing up too, my dad used to have a dog sled team. So they were working dogs. That was different for me because they stayed outdoors, and that I didn't understand. It was kind of interesting, but they were considered working dogs, and oh, he wants to go out. Here you go. I will put him down for you, or you can take him. Sorry, guys. 1 second. That's one thing with him. He doesn't stay in rooms very well for very long. But anyway, we had a dog sled team growing up, which was very interesting because they were considered working dogs, where a lot of ESAs are considered working dogs as well. So if you've ever gone in the store and you've seen somebody with a dog and they have a vest on it, it says working on it. They're actually in training, and one of my good friends who does the Pause for Cause training has made a good point to say, you may want to pet that dog, you may want to cuddle with the dog, but it is working, and that's what they do. So that's their job. Some of them do come out of retirement if, for instance, one of the dogs had a allergy and they were no longer working as ESA or just a working dog that is trained for specifically helping others out. But those dogs do go to good homes. Sometimes they go back to the people that have trained them because they know the animal and they know how to take care of them. So it's kind of interesting if you guys get a chance to look at the Pause for Cause page and maybe throw some support. And I'm hoping at some point I'm able to get her on so we can talk a little bit more about that. But some of us have just gotten lucky with adopting or rescuing an animal, and I kind of have joked about that before with who rescued who when it comes to that, because he has, like I said, been there through a lot of the stuff that I've gone through. There's a big difference in the animals that I've had compared to him. One of the things is has never ever bit me, and I've had other cats that do like a little like love bite or whatever if they've had enough of you petting them or whatever. But I've never, in the almost 17 years that I've had him, he has not bit me. Candy's asked me a question: if you have an ESA certified animal, do you get discounts off of pet rent or deposit? Yes, actually, with the ESA, there are some places that that you rent that have a deposit that you're supposed to pay, like a pet deposit. And where I currently live at, actually, because of him being certified, they waived that fee because I don't know if I have to look more into it to find out if it's a matter of law or what it is that it is. But there's some places that have wanted to charge over $250 or more, and like I said, I had to pay for him to get certified, or not paid for him to get certified. Actually, the way that I did it was through therapy, because she knew that it was detrimental with him in my life. So I was able to get certified that way. I'm not sure if that's how it is still, because this was quite a while ago that I had gotten him actually certified. So yeah, there are deposits that are asked of you when you do have an animal. Luckily, here where I live, they do give you up to 2 animals that you can have. But I think because he was ESA, that deposit was waived. But I'll have to double check with that. Is there any questions on Twitch? Is there anybody hanging out over there, Tony?
I'm still working on the links because I'm riding the struggle bus today.
No problem. I understand completely. It can be a very exhausting time with everything and probably just all the stuff that you're doing over there.
So far, Twitch is pretty. I mean, there's people watching and listening, but I think it's more of a they're hanging
Just
with
hanging
their
out.
they're hanging with their the ESA.
Gotcha. Funny. So yeah, I just kind of want to touch base on that. And like I said, he has been a really good component in my life for me, for my sanity, for my anxiety and depression. It has been very helpful. And, some people are able to go out and just be out in nature and do those kinds of things to help with their anxiety. Music, writing, all that stuff is great things. And I do use a lot of different tools to help through depression and through anxiety. What are some of the things that you guys that are listening helps you to get through if you do have or experience depression and anxiety? Is there something that you do that's able to help you? And like I said before, I am no stranger to being transparent about talking with you guys about therapy and whatnot. And luckily, right now, one of the things that I am able to do with my therapist's office is Zoom calls to be able to have my therapy appointments from home right now. So if you guys are in therapy or you do have a therapist or counselor or whatever, that might be something that you can look into while we are all kind of at home right now, to help with it. Because I honestly, one of the big things that I have been experiencing is I will wake up, have a great morning, do good, all that stuff, be wonderful. I'll be ready to go. I have my list, my check off list that I do, and all that good stuff. And then some kind of notification will come up on my Facebook or whatever to notify me of everything that's going on out there, all the numbers, all the different things that are happening out there. And then I'll start getting into that and kind of go down that rabbit hole. I'll start reading all the different things that are happening and the numbers of the negatives and all that stuff that's going on, which is it's a real thing that's happening. But when I look at it, that gets in my head. And so then I'll have spouts throughout the day, not every day, but some days where I will get emotional and I'll start thinking about that, worrying about my friends, my family, my loved ones, and everything. And so then that kind of brings me, up and down. There's a huge wave of emotions and different things that are happening. So I'm trying my best to keep grounded and to keep my mind occupied and busy. For instance, today I was able to jump on and do some singing. I did a little coffee talk thing on Survivor Girl on Facebook, and people joined me for that, and I appreciate that. I'm glad that you guys come and hang out. And then I jumped on my Facebook, my personal page, and did the singing and everything, and that helped out a lot. Just kind of hopefully to help put some positives out there for others. And singing for me is a big thing. It's always been a huge part of my life. And then the other night, Tony and I, my producer, my friend, my co-host on the other podcast, and we got on and did a little bit of songwriting and some music writing, which was really cool. We did a remote kind of thing. There was a little bit of lag with me singing and him playing or whatever to do a little recording, but it was just kind of to show you guys what it is or how it's like to be in the studio and to write music together. So that was kind of interesting. If you guys want to check that out, that was on the Don't Make This Weird podcast. So thank you guys. But yeah, I mean, it's trying to find these different things to keep occupied and busy. And I know everybody's feeling that, and I know you can only do so much or whatever. But luckily, because I am still going through my home and doing the organization, I'm finding all kinds of projects and different stuff that I have been wanting to do. So that helps. Is there any questions from you guys over there at the studio?
Well, actually, I was going to chime in and say that that's what Jeremy and I did the other night. Well, actually, last
Mm-hmm.
night, from the newly refurbished drum area. He was inside of the new drum room that he built, and we worked on writing some music to kind of show people how working with the different people that we work with and how
Mm-hmm.
our process goes. And we got into a little bit of the history of how long we've been writing together, different writing styles, and it was funny 'cause one of the questions that were fielded to Jeremy was how do you write music? Do you start with lyrics first and then write the music, or do you start with music and then write the lyrics? And his response was yes.
Well, and the writing process is different for everybody, I feel, and I think that him and I are definitely different. Because he does instrument, so that makes it different. When you play, I'm able to start feeling what I think that the music sounds like, what the story is that I feel it's telling, and that's really cool. I have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it was really interesting because we really went through a lot of the different ways that we do stuff, and we ended up, writing some music and stuff at the end. But like you said, the delay, the latency issues, it makes it really difficult to write music in real time. But
Yeah.
we still kind of talked about the inspiration behind it, what gets our juices flowing, and sometimes, it's like, oh, I'm hearing this part, and it's like, wait a minute, give me a second, I'm hearing something different, and
Hmm.
respectfully, not saying that your idea sucks, but I'm hearing something different and letting the music dictate to you what needs to be played as opposed to just following some formula.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing too. I really want to encourage others to kind of dive into it. If you've ever thought about writing, whether it be music or poetry or a book or whatever, try it. I mean, what more can you do but just try it? You never know until you actually do it. And I always feel like I'll have people that will ask questions about doing a podcast or different things like that. And my biggest thing is just try it. Just, don't think of all of the things that can go wrong. Think of all the things that can go right with just doing it. If it's not good, people will let you know. I will tell you that. Hopefully, it's good constructive criticism so that they're able to help you to evolve it, not go backwards on it or anything. But just give it a shot. Try it. If it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen? Is at least you tried.
Well, and that was one of the things that we had talked about, across the platforms, not just on Don't Make This Weird, but it was a lot of the same stuff that we had talked about on This Is My Brain. We'll we'll go in cold to intentionally stir up the creativity. I mean, like we did
Hmm.
with when we went on and did some music together. We both went in cold. You hadn't written in months. I just tuned my guitar and went, okay, let's go. And it was kind of
Right.
like, I mean, I had a couple of different ideas going into to talk with Jeremy, but it was one of those things where, look, we're going into this cold. Now we have to be creative because the pressure's on because we're live.
Hmm.
So there's, it's putting those constraints on what's going on to go, look, we're not always going to get it right either. We're going to completely shit the bed. However,
Hmm.
you don't stop there. You keep pushing through with that creativity.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a creative process that you have to be patient with. I don't think that it's just like with anything else. If you push too hard on it, it's not going to come out properly. Like you really have to feel it. You have to get your flow, no matter what it is. It may be with painting or anything like that. Like I grew up in a family that was very, very, very artistic and musical, and I talked a little bit about this when we were doing the music process and everything. And honestly, they were very supportive of me with doing arts and doing all the different things that I've done. Like my mom, for instance, not only did she sing and play instruments, but she also was very good at painting and sewing and just creating like such cool, amazing things. She even had stuff that was actually published in magazines and things, which was so cool. And like for instance, with my dad, he sings, he plays bass guitar, paints. One of his things is Bob Ross paintings and things. And neither one of them ever, ever, ever discouraged us in doing arts and teaching us how to do that stuff. It was a very cool environment to grow up with on both aspects. Yes, I went through we went through some hard times growing up. My parents were not a good fit together. As a couple, they were really good as friends. So, I went through the divorce and all that kind of stuff as well. So there was bumps in the road of growing up, but I still got to experience a lot of really, really cool things. So I don't know if you're still there or if you had anything.
No, I'm still here. I'm just trying to go through and
Okay,
make sure that all of the links are shared. I got it all on Survivor Girl on the page itself.
thank you. And okay, so it's kind of up in the air with everything going on, where we're at right now with me being here and not being at the studio and stuff, and not being able to have guests live. So I am working on trying to get guests over the phone on the video and different things. I'm looking into that to adjust, and Tony has been helping with that, and we appreciate that very much. So guys, bear with me because tonight I honestly, it's not that I didn't think about what I wanted to talk about, because I did want to talk about having an ESA and going through anxiety, depression, and how it's been kind of heightened right now. And then, to be able to talk about working through the creative processes and having that kind of thing to be able to do while we are at home and we are, trying to stay safe and healthy. It's been very interesting, trying different things and realizing that there are things that I can do that I didn't know that I could do artistically and whatnot. And I had touched base, I think on the last show, and I think we talked a little bit about it on Don't Make This Weird. There's a lot of people out there that are doing making face masks and stuff. And Dawn, my executive assistant for Survivor Girl, actually had posted a picture and a how-to for these little. It's like a ribbon, and then you sew the buttons on the end, and that is supposed to help with the masks. So you put the elastic on the buttons, so it's supposed to help with not breaking down the ears for our medical nurses, doctors, and whatnot. So I started working on those, and Katie, shout out to her from Virus Spirit 2020, is helping me to get those out to those who need them, which is really, really cool. So for a little bit there, I sat there going, I wish I would have had my mom's sewing machine, or I would have learned how to sew a straight line, had the patience to sew a straight line, when my mom was trying to teach me. But then I seen, I learned how to hand sew, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I can help with this. So it's kind of cool. But there's other stuff out there that we can do to help with everything that is going on, and I'm thankful to have the supplies, like I said, just kind of hanging out and being able to do these and help support in any way. So if you guys are able to help with that, if you've got ribbon and buttons and thread at home and needles, you're able to sew those up. Those are helpful at this time. Some people are using paper clips and whatnot, but this is something else that we could help to help out our frontline workers. And again, I just can't stop putting out there how important everybody is that is working on the front lines, how much we appreciate you guys. I mean, it's everybody from doctors, nurses, to our retail workers, to our truck drivers, to our postal workers, and all through. We're thankful for all of that.
We got a
So
couple people in
I'm hoping
Twitch.
that we're able to keep. What's that?
So we got a couple people in Twitch asking some questions about the
Okay.
ESA. Um, how do you get an emotional support animal?
How do you get an emotional support animal?
Yeah, that's the question.
Um, well, for me, he just was a natural emotional support animal. Like he had no training. He just is able to pick up on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling agitated, anxiety, or any kind of depression or anything, he's just really good. And one of the things that I don't think you normally see is with him, he will literally try to reach up for me to pick him up, and then when I pick him up, he will sit there and put his head underneath my chin and like lay on me to keep me calm. It's the most interesting thing that I never knew I needed, to be honest.
And that
Was
was it.
that the
That was they just there was a couple people that chimed in and said hi here listening, and then how do you get an emotional support animal?
Okay? Yeah, thank you guys for the questions. I appreciate that. Thank you. We are both on Twitch and on YouTube, and you can find Survivor Girl Facebook page as well. Also, we are re-aired on SolidStateRadio.net. So thank you guys. I appreciate the support. Like I said, normally we have guests that come on and share their stories. That's the main basis of Survivor Girl. I had some questions actually last night, I think it was. Adam was talking with some people about Survivor Girl, and they were confused as to if Survivor Girl was just for women. And actually, to be honest with you, no. Survivor Girl is for men, women, and there are some things that we talk about that are a little bit tougher subjects for kids, so we kind of try to keep it a little bit more, for older people, teens and up, to be able to listen because there's a lot of stuff that we talk about with journeys that are, in our lives, and things that we have thrived and survived through. So it is not just for women. Survivor Girl actually started because I had an idea for, well, actually, if we really want to go to the beginning of it, after surviving cancer, I made a new email, and it was Survivor Girl was a part of it. And after that, I started talking about making chemical-free makeup and kind of going on with that as like a survival thing for patients like that have gone through cancer or domestic violence survivors and such things like that. And then after that, I thought about writing the story of surviving cancer and thriving and sharing my story in my mom's battle that she had lost. And I wanted to kind of do a blog, and then it went from doing a blog to just doing a podcast. And we started on the 12th, actually, will be 1 year this month since Survivor Girl had started, and it's been a really cool journey. I've met a lot of really strong, amazing people that are sharing that have shared their journey, that have had the bravery to come on the show and share their journey and how they are thriving now, and to kind of just show everybody that we can go through some really, really tough things. We can go through traumas. We can go through so many different situations, and you can thrive and survive after going through it. So yeah, that's kind of where Survivor Girl came from, and it is both for men and women. I've had men actually on the show as well, and some really incredible stories. One of the or two of them, three of them that stand out for me actually, my producer and friend Tony, and also he has shared his story. Travis French has shared his story, and also Denny Wasmond, who also has a book out. If you guys want to check him out, he's got a book called Electrocuted. He has a few of those left. You can check him out on Facebook. I've shared the link on Survivor Girl, so you guys can get in touch with him to get a signed copy of the book. Incredible stories. So yeah, Survivor Girl is not just for women; it's for men and women. So, did you guys have any questions?
No, these people are really chiming in and saying thank you for sharing this ESA stuff. And hey, we're here. We love Survivor Girl. We're sharing.
Okay, so I definitely appreciate that very much. I'm glad you guys are joining me tonight. I know Twitch is a different platform. Generally, Twitch kind of started out with gaming and such. So, podcasts are something a little bit newer to Twitch. So, I thank you guys for tuning in on Twitch and joining me on YouTube. If you guys say hi to me, I will mention your name and give you a shout out. And if you say hi on Twitch, say your name or whatever it is that you would like to say, Tony can mention it as well. So, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. So, another thing, kind of to go with going through anxiety, depression, and all that, is I have been kind of doing some research, not only on different Facebook pages and different things that are coming out that are positive, especially in this time. There is also a couple other things that I was kind of looking into. Another page that I forgot to give a shout out to is Rainbows Over Michigan. We are located in Michigan. There's a page on Facebook called Rainbows Over Michigan, and people are doing paintings on their doors in rainbow colors and different things and sharing those so that people in the front lines when they drive through, they can see the different rainbows and different paintings and things that people are doing to kind of help boost morale and to show the support and thanks. There's chalk drawings and all kinds of different things that people are sharing on there, and it's incredible. So that's really awesome. And then there is a helpline. It's called Disaster Distress. So if you are dealing with depression or anything like that right now because of everything that is going on, and you feel either you feel alone or you need somebody to talk to, this is a line that you can get a hold of. It's Disaster Distress Helpline, and the phone number is 1-800-985-5990. That's 1-800-985-5990. They also have another phone number that you can contact if that number you don't get through is 1-800-846-8517. That's 1-800-846-8517. Or if you don't feel like actually talking on the phone, I know that that's kind of a hard thing, you can actually text to somebody as well. You can text the word talk with us all together, all in one line, talk with us, to the number 66746. That's 66746. And before I had gotten on to do the show today, I actually did text that number to talk with somebody, and I did get a response back. They are trained to be able to text and help you through the disaster or how you're feeling right now. Very, very cool thing that they have available. I have seen several people that are not dealing with what's going on very well. And unfortunately, I had seen a post last night which made me think about, the research to help put these numbers out. I seen last night that unfortunately, due to everything that is happening, somebody was not dealing with it very well and had taken their own life. And I don't want to see that happening. I don't want to see too many of those posts on Facebook. So if you guys, I'm not medically trained. I am not able to do help with any diagnosis or anything, like I said at the beginning of the show. However, I am mental first aid trained, so I can help to talk through a couple things and then help find you where you need to go to talk to somebody. So if you want to, you can actually message me on Survivor Girl Podcast Facebook page or personally, if you would like to talk, if you're feeling alone or if you need some help with encouragement. Please feel free to do so, because I really don't want to see anybody face this by themselves, or feel that they just can't take it to where it gets that bad to that point. So please keep that in mind. And those phone numbers, plus, like I said, you can text to that number, 66746, talk with us. So you can talk to somebody who is trained actually and able to help you through disaster distress at this time. Also, I wanted to kind of touch base because I've been thinking, excuse me, I gotta move, I'm sliding down in my chair. Um, I've been thinking about those who already have not had a really great home life. They've been dealing with other things, maybe domestic violence. There is a number that you guys can call to, National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-7233. Or if you can't get through to that number, there is a 1-800-787-3224. 1-800-787-3224. And that's for the National Domestic Violence Hotline, so that you're able to get in touch with somebody who can help you out. It struck me earlier when I was thinking about topics and such that I want to talk about tonight on Survivor Girl. And one of the things that really stood out in my mind was those that are at home, that didn't have a really good home life before this stay-at-home thing happened, to where we're trying to keep safe from that. Those people were able to go out and go to the store or go to work, and that was their time to get away, to feel safe for a little while. And now that they aren't probably able to do so, or just got me thinking about that. So there's those numbers. So you're able to get in touch with somebody to hopefully help you through what it is that you're going through, and to help keep you going at this time. I had another thing in on the YouTube chat. Katie from Fire Spirit 2020 is joined in. She said, "Great info, girl. Thank you, thank you. Glad that you're joining in. I appreciate that." And just I was just thinking about that. It's not easy to be dealing with that without this kind of trauma happening, because you're already dealing in with a lot of trauma at home. And I know people that are survivors of domestic violence. I work with a group called Porky's Dream that is actually raising money to build an animal shelter and a women's shelter on the same property, so that women and children who come into the shelter are able to bring their animals with them. Maybe it's their ESA, maybe it's just their family pets, but that way they're not leaving them home alone. So that's another good organization. If you guys are able to check that out, Porky's Dream, a really good and near and dear thing to my heart. So just thinking of those things, and those that are at home that are now stuck at home and are in that situation, 24/7. There's some stuff to get a hold of, to be able to contact to help you out. And Katie says that she's been listening the whole time, LOL, and sewing. She is one of the ones that is making masks right now, plus adminning the page Virus Spirit 2020. So we give her love. Very, very good. There was an article of my friends that we were talking about the other day, Donnie and his wife, who's made over 1,000 and have put those out. Her numbers, I'm sure Katie's numbers are getting up there as well. She is another crafting person, which is very dear to my heart. So yeah, that's kind of the things that I've been thinking about through what we're going through right now. Did you guys in the studio have anything?
It's a lot of the same thing that Katie was talking about. Thank you for the numbers and the info. Um,
Can't hear
yeah.
it. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Uh, is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. No. It's a lot of the same thing that Katie was talking about. Is thanks for the info. Good stuff. Very resourceful.
Very cool. Well, I don't know if like you or listening studio audience over there had anything that you wanted to ask to kind of like a question and answer kind of situation.
No, you've been
We could pick
covering
at
all the
any point.
bases, and the way everybody's been chiming in on chat here, which has been great with the interactions and the emotional support animals and stuff. I guess um, one of the questions I actually have is you talked about Corky's dream. What about those people that are
Hmm.
unfortunately in those situations that they can't get their animals out of those situations? How does that work for them? How do you have you been through that? Do you know how to process that? I mean, talk a little bit about that.
Myself, uh, when everything went down for my divorce and everything, this was really kind of a rough thing. I had the house still at the time, and I had a Great Dane, Great Greyhound mix, and a Great Dane Bull Mastiff mix, plus the two cats. And excuse me. At the time, it was uh, it was hard because I was at the house by myself to make the payment and retail wages and everything. That was really really hard. And what ended up happening is he came and got the my one dog, and then the other one, unfortunately, I had fostered or adopted out to somebody that I knew was going to be a very good family and a good fit for him. So I ended up losing my Great Dane and my Bull Mastiff at the same time, and had the cats still, because at that time not only was I making the house payment on a Walmart wage, but I was trying to figure out how to pay for $40 worth of food. They went through it pretty quick. So my heart got a little bit broken from that situation. So Porky's dream with them, I mean, it's different because they do for domestic violence and things. What they're wanting to do with everything, because animals are very very important to the co-founder of Corky's Dream, that she wants to be able to have the animal shelter put up with the women's shelter so that they are unable to, or that they are able to, I'm sorry, have their animals come with them when they come to the shelter to get help and to get back on their feet. And I think that is an incredible thing that they're doing. And I haven't heard very many places that actually are doing that. So in those times it makes it really difficult because if you are an animal lover, if you have a family pet, leaving them behind is so heartbroken. And when you're going through something like that already, that hits you again. It's another mental blow as well. It's very hard. Something. So that would be something else that could be helpful. You still there?
Yeah, we're having a little bit of a glitch on our end. You froze for a minute on the screen, and then you come back, and we got a little bit of what you said, but the most of it was all. So I don't know if
Yeah,
our
I
our,
think.
our listening
Oh,
audience
there we go.
caught that.
I'm not sure. But yeah, it looks like it's kind of getting a little bit laggy. We're getting close to almost the hour mark. But did you guys? I hope I answered that. Like I said, it's already tough having to go through what they're going through, and then having to also give up their what could be their kid, however they put it. For me, I know there's the fur baby term that I use because I was unable to have children myself. So, Jimmy kind of became like a kid. But after so many years and taking care of him and being there for him, that's a that's not very far off from him being like a kid to me. So,
Well, and I know you talked about in the past with that stuff and been very a huge advocate for emotional support animals, and that it's a very tricky thing to navigate. That if you are in a sketchy situation dealing with domestic violence or something like that, and you have the opportunity to leave. Animals find their way around the stuff because I mean that's the thing is you gotta protect yourself. You gotta be vigilant. And I mean nobody wants to leave their animal behind, but if it's between you and your safety, which is first and
mhm.
foremost the priority,
Right.
and talk a little bit about that because you expounded on that a few different times on the show.
Well, here's one of the things that I'd like to say. We take when we take in animals as we are to take care of them. When you go to take in an animal, you make that commitment because it is a lifelong commitment for however long it is that they live for their life. And it gets a little bit tricky when if you have to move or whatever. There's a lot of places that don't accept animals. And not only that, like something like this, having to go through domestic violence. But I also learned another thing, and for me, I did everything I possibly could to keep Jibby with me, no matter where I went. And then after Zach had passed away, I ended up inheriting Bitsy. And for me to get rid of or have to give up either one of them would have definitely been another mental blow for me. I would have been just absolutely devastated, and because I had to watch my mom go through it. When she had to leave and move, she wasn't able to take her animals, and she ended up having to get rid of three herself. And watching her, she had such a rough time with it, and mentally she did decline from it. So, and having to be in that kind of situation. Most recently, seeing somebody who actually lost their life because of domestic violence, and I don't know the whole story on it, whether an animal was involved or not, but a while about 2 years ago, Adam had asked me the airplane question. And I answered incorrectly, apparently. So if you are on an airplane and you have a child with you, who's the first one that you put the air mask on? Me being me, instantly said the child. Well, if you don't put it on yourself, you can't take care of that child. So I guess I kind of look at it that way. Hopefully you're able to get a place in a place put a plan put in place to where you're able to have your animals fostered or somebody that can take care of them while you make your escape to get to somewhere to get back on your feet. That would be the most ideal thing. But like I said, with Corky's Dream and them trying to build an animal shelter, obviously that would be something that I hope to see more of. I really do. And I definitely can't wait to see that built. But to have a plan in place because honestly, you don't know how long you have before that situation escalates. Sorry. I have another thing. Candy says I have to say, humor and being playful has got me through this quarantine. I miss my babies and my fur babies. Yeah, that's definitely a difficult thing, and I do feel that humor is definitely something that we do need right now. Humor, music, trying to have good times, even though it is a hard time right now. But I feel like um, in this situation, it's all about surviving and thriving right now. I know I say that a lot because of it being Survivor Girl, but we are all surviving. We're all trying to survive this right now, and trying to keep our spirits up and keep ourselves going. Because, like I said in the very beginning, I'll have my mornings where I feel great and I'm going to accomplish everything I possibly can. And, being a cancer survivor, after surviving and getting the all clear, my number one was making sure that my second chance was well lived and that I was able to help others out the best that I could, along with growing and thriving and evolving myself as well. And this situation, it doesn't really stem too far, I feel, from surviving that. And it does bring up a lot of fear, I suppose, because after surviving something like that and then to go into something like this, which is different, it feels like that fight all over again, to be honest. Sorry, I didn't know if you had anything else over there.
Nope, that was it. It was just one of those elaborating on it because it's a tricky situation to where you love your animals and you want to make sure that they come with you, but when it comes down to, like you said, the airplane question, if you can't
Hmm.
take care of yourself, how are you going to be able to save somebody else? And I mean, that's,
Right.
a lot of people look at their emotional support animals as their fur babies. You put
Hmm.
the oxygen mask on you, then you can save because you're making calm, rational decisions. And unfortunately,
Right.
it happens more often than not with a lot of those people that are in those types of situations. That's the thing. Keep leaving, keep getting the help. Don't quit fighting to get back your life.
Hmm. Yeah, because honestly, in order to be able to take care of them, I mean, it is a scary situation with that because you're trying to plan your escape, but you also don't want to leave behind them because if that person is possibly abusive towards you, who knows if they'll be abusive towards the animals if when you go. And that's another scary thought, and I'm sure a lot of that's a lot of the thing that happens where you're thinking about what could happen to my animal when I go. And sometimes, unfortunately, I've heard that the abuser is holding that over the person who's being abused to keep them there. They'll make threats on the animal's life, and that will keep people there because they're afraid that they're going to do something to them. I experienced that with the stalker that I had. He continually, anytime that I said I was going to stop talking to him or stop seeing him or whatever, he actually threatened Jibby, who is my ESA. He threatened. He said he would say, "Well, wouldn't that be a shame if you came home and he was dead?" And I'm telling you what, that made my heart just sink, and it terrified me. And it's not I didn't. or particularly stay in the relationship because of that situation, but he continued to start threatening my mom's life and other things like that. So I guess I have experienced that to a point. Luckily, I was not living with the person who was stalking me. I did not get to that point. The abuse was starting to happen, and I was able to distance myself from him before it got that out of hand. But there's some people that just can't. So, I mean, it is a good question. I would definitely try to get a plan in place if you can for somebody to help with fostering your animals until you're able to get back on your feet. I mean, that's probably not the easiest thing to do, but there are people that do foster. So, anyway, I give a little pause there to see if there was anything over from the other side. If you had anything else, sorry.
Hello from the other side.
I appreciate you guys fielding the questions to me and everybody who has joined me for this episode of Survivor Girl. I'm going to continue to stay positive, fight through any of the anxiety and the fear and all that stuff that comes about with what we're facing as a nation. It's not just us here in little old Michigan, it's all over the place. And I'm trying my best to help you guys stay positive, stay going. If it means making a list, washing a million loads of laundry, whatever it is that you have to do to keep yourself busy, just try to stay as positive as you possibly can, because the more that we worry, the more that we struggle with all of those kind of things. Your mental health is very, very, very important. And if you're struggling with that, it can cause you to physically become ill. So please, guys, protect yourselves the best you can. If that means doing some meditation or whatever it is, to get yourself away. Maybe you have to go into another room, play some music to kind of chill and relax, whatever it is that you have to do to help keep your mental stability going and good. Please do that for you. Make sure that you're taking time and still doing the self care. We've talked a lot about self care, and just try to keep as positive as you can and look forward to the great things and the good news of the day, the good things that are happening, the positives out there with people that are helping out, reaching out to others. Um, just the bands that are playing music. If you have to jump on there to listen to some of that, please do it. Do what you can to take care of your minds and your physical and your mental being, all of it right now, because it's definitely something that is important. So please take care of yourselves. Get in your exercise, your water, whatever it is that you guys need. I want to continue to see you guys hanging out on Survivor Girl with me. I will continue to do as much as I can to help boost the positivity out there for you guys and as well as myself. Because, to be able to do that for you guys helps uplift and boost me as well. So thank you guys for being a part of this journey, for being here with me on Survivor Girl. And even though we are going through such a tough time right now, I just want to remind you that life is best lived. I will see you guys again next Sunday, and it will be for our 1 year anniversary on Survivor Girl. So thank you guys so much for joining me, for being with me. Don't forget to check out all those pages that I mentioned earlier. And if you do need those phone numbers, please, please, please contact somebody so that you do not feel alone. If you're feeling down, depressed, you don't feel like you can make it through this, please call those numbers. Please message me, whatever it takes, you guys. Please stay in touch with the ones that you need to stay in touch with. Remember to love yourselves as well. So, yeah, life is best lived. We'll see you again. Take care, everybody. Keep on thriving, survivors.